Live from the Two Virginias news leader. WVVA News at 5 starts now.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Schwartz. Welcome to WVVA News at 5. Our top story, we are 2 weeks away from Election Day, but voters can begin heading to the polls to make their choice tomorrow in West Virginia as the early voting period begins here in the Mountain State. It runs from tomorrow, October 23rd until next Saturday, November 2nd. Now we have compiled a list of locations where you at home can vote early if you wish to. Take a look here. If you're looking to cast your vote early in McDowell County, you'll be able to do so at the county courthouse on Wyoming Street in Welch. They're open from 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. In Mercer County, there are 4 locations, with the main one being the Mercer County Courthouse on Main Street in Princeton, with additional locations at the Covenant Baptist Church in Princeton, Four Seasons Answering Service in Bluefield, and the Herb Sims Rec Center in Bluefield. All 4 locations will be open from 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon. Monroe County has 2 locations as well, the main one being the Union Rescue Squad building on Pump Street in Union, with the second location being the Peterstown Town Hall on Thomas Street. Now, Fayette County voters have 3 locations to choose from, those being the Memorial Building on West Maple Avenue in Fayetteville, the Green Valley Church Annex on Meadow Bridge Road in Denise, and the Montgomery Community Center on 3rd Avenue. In Greenbrier County, there are a pair of locations, with the main locale being the Courthouse Annex Masonic Building beside the Mountain Messenger, and the second location being the Rupert Community Center on Nicholas Street. In Raleigh County, there is only 1 location, going to be the 2nd floor ceremonial courtroom at the county courthouse on Main Street. Summers County also has 1 location, that being the County Memorial Building the County Memorial Building Auditorium on 1st Avenue in Hinton. And in Wyoming County, they have 4 locations for early voting. The main location will be the county courthouse on Main Avenue in Pineville, and additional sites include the City of Mullins Town Hall, Hanover Volunteer Fire Department, and Oceana Town Hall. Again, the early voting period begins tomorrow and wraps up next Saturday, November 2nd. And sticking with early voting, the presidential candidates are crisscrossing the 7 battleground states in the final weeks before Election Day. They're working to appeal to any undecided voters, but polling is showing that the majority of voters have already decided who they're voting for, and with early voting in some states already underway, millions across the country have already cast their ballots. Julia Benbrook has more.
With just 2 weeks until Election Day, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris tailor their appearances and messaging to a shrinking group of available voters.
We stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
I believe that when we think about who we are as the American people, there is more we have in common than what separates us.
Early voting is underway in most states, and as of Tuesday morning, nearly 16 million ballots had already been cast.
I think everyone realizes this is probably one of the most important elections they're going to have in years, and then when they get it done.
I wasn't even really thinking about voting early, except for the fact that my daughter's back from college for fall break, so I just figured I'd go with her.
While Democrats had a wide advantage over Republicans in pre-election voting 4 years ago, there's some evidence that the gap may not end up being quite so wide this year. Trump's campaign is making a last-minute push to advocate for early and mail-in voting, despite years of the former president falsely painting these methods as dangerous and fraudulent.
Trump has changed his tune for obvious reasons, because he needs those votes and wants to get people out. And some people just can't get out on one particular day.
Polls continue to show there's no clear leader in the race for the White House. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Now back locally in Mercer County, anyone sleeping on the streets or camping on public property in the city of Bluefield may soon face a fine and potentially even jail time under a new proposed ordinance. Today, the Bluefield Board of Directors gave first reading to the proposed ordinance, which would implement fines and possible jail time for repeat offenders. But in each instance, the violator would be offered help to avoid that fine. In the first encounter, the person would be given a warning along with an explanation of the ordinance and their options available to to help them avoid sleeping on public property. The second defense may be a fine in city court with advisement of possible help, and if the person accepts help, that citation could be dismissed. A third offense would mean a fine and potential jail time, but help is once again offered, and if accepted, dismissal is once again possible. The director of the Bluefield Union Mission says they believe their organization is equipped to handle any potential homeless issues.
I think it's a good ordinance. I support it wholeheartedly, and I believe any homeless problem that we have in this area, I believe the Bluefield Union Mission is equipped to handle it on-site and off-site with facilities.
Board member Peter Taylor, also with the Union Mission, says the mission has 5 rooms at a local hotel for people who need housing, but those rooms are filled every night. People can help out by giving donations. You can drop those off at the mission on Bluefield Avenue or by mail as well. And now we want to change gears and talk about the weather here in the two Virginias. The fall foliage is in the midst of peaking, and we're going to our Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson. She's standing by live out in the elements at the top of East River Mountains Overlook with more on what's to come in our first look at the forecast. Catherine, what a view.
Hey there, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson here. Again, coming to you live from the top of East River Mountain Overlook. When I drove to work today, the view was just absolutely gorgeous, and I knew I had to get up here. And, you know, these days that are warmer like this are numbered, so we've got to get out here and take advantage of the leaf peeping. Again, some gorgeous color behind me. We're expecting a really nice sunset. High pressure's in control, so we look dry. We look absolutely gorgeous. And temperatures, again, today have been above average. So while it's a little warmer, especially before the sun goes down, come up here, get you a view off the top of East River Mountain. Maybe it's a good a good time to get up here, get a good look at things while you're maybe eating a little dinner, get you a little pumpkin spice latte, whatever, and come up here and get you some leaf peeping in, because it is definitely peak around here as far as fall foliage goes this week. Let's take a look at the forecast looking ahead. Again, our satellite and radar today has been all quiet. High pressure's been in control. We've been hard-pressed to find clouds in the sky today, much less rain. So we are going to definitely stay clear with high pressure well in control into tonight. Again, if we look at our temperatures right now, most of us still sitting in the 60s at least. We were in the 70s, even had some spots, those lower elevations like Pineville, for instance, hitting the 80s earlier today. So it's definitely been warmer than average. I've seen some folks on bikes up here on the overlook. It's a good day to get out and about like that. And if we look ahead at tonight, temperatures will be seasonable. We will cool off once the sun goes down. If you are out and about, make sure you do have that coat. Eventually, we dip into the 40s tonight. Some could dip into the 30s, and then tomorrow we're going to be above average again. Plenty of sun into midweek. Most of us hitting the 70s, if not the low 80s again tomorrow. And then after that, that's when we'll start to get a cool down. It won't be quite as balmy out here, so let's take advantage of the weather we've got now. I'll break down that full forecast in just a few. Back to you all in the studio.
Thank you, Catherine. Now in Wyoming County, one community just got a boost from the state of West Virginia in the form of a sizable state grant. The announcement came this morning that the city of Mullins is receiving a grant for $118,708. It's for pickleball courts where the old tennis courts used to be, right next to the city pool. Members of the city administration, along with state senators Roland Roberts and Bug Stover, were on hand to present the check to the city. The president of the City of Mullins Foundation tells us their aim here is to build Mullins into a place families want to live.
The whole goal for the City of Mullins Foundation is to build recreational facilities so people can enjoy. So we're trying to attract younger people with children that would come to school and have a good place to raise their children, and a lot of exercise that could be involved in by building facilities like this.
The project, which is already underway, coincides with the upgrade of the city pool earlier this year, along with preparations for a new K-8 school set to be next door. And today, students at Bluefield State University got to experience life in the shoes of someone who's just been released from prison. It's through a traveling simulated experience, hoping to educate people about some of the hardships faced by those re-entering society. The REACH initiative holds this presentation around the area on a subject that hits close to home for many in the U.S., including those in West Virginia. Each student here got a new identity to role play as someone re-entering society following incarceration. They learned how to survive survive by getting IDs, work, and food, all while dealing with unexpected complications and avoiding more jail time. However, the goal here was to teach more than facts about life after prison, but to break down stigmas that people may have that could prevent someone from re-entering society.
It brings empathy, and it also teaches them that life is not easy. You are one decision away from a different life. We've all made bad choices, just not everyone's been caught. So going through these things kind of brings awareness to the things that you will have to go through, and then it brings empathy of, okay, they're not able to successfully navigate because of all of these things that they have to go through.
If you would like more information about this simulation, or if you'd like to contact someone about possibly bringing it to your location, Spears says you can go to wvreentry.org. And in Mercer County, Concord University's School of Nursing got its start back in 2022. However, they lacked national accreditation, only being regionally accredited until now, that is. The nursing program has now received national approval just 1 year after the first group began classes. The director of nursing at Concord University says she believes this will encourage more students to join the program. This could also break down barriers to Concord University nursing students pursuing graduate school out of state. The director adds that she's proud to lead this ever-growing program, telling us that this is confirmation of the hard work put into making this vision a reality.
This national accreditation really puts us on the map with other schools that meet and exceed national nursing education standards. So, you know, we're part of that group now, and a lot of students like to see that designation.
If you would like to find out more about this program, you can go to concord.edu/nursing. And we will have much more on this story coming up tonight on WVVA News. Now don't go away. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at our latest weekly investigative report. It's coming your way when WVVA News at 5 returns.
From the Two Virginias news leader, this is WVVA News at 5.
Welcome back, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson here, coming to you live from the top of East River Mountain Overlook in Bluefield, West Virginia. We could have not picked a better evening to be up here, guys. If you haven't seen enough of the fall foliage yet, you could get a good dose up here. The view is just absolutely phenomenal. The sun is getting ready to set on some of this beautiful peak fall color too, and I am stoked. Now, if you are heading up here, I would have a little jacket. The breeze has picked up a little bit, and of course, once the sun goes down, it is going to get cooler. But overall, we have been dry, mild, gorgeous today, and we should stay clear tonight. Another good leaf peeping day tomorrow too. And again, this is peak leaf peeping time, peak color, especially right around Bluefield and a lot of Mercer County, and a lot of this is the lower elevations across our general viewing area. So get out and enjoy it while you can. If we look at our temperatures, again, most of us today have been above average. We've been in the 60s, low 70s. We've even had some places in the low 80s, some of those lower spots earlier this afternoon. Now, we're not going to stay that warm the rest of this week, but tonight, tomorrow are still looking to be on the warmer than average side. At least we're going to stay seasonable into tonight. Our satellite and radar, again, has been clear. It's going to stay that way through the overnight hours. We've had high pressure in control. Now, I will say we do have a very, very weak front that is going to try to move into our area tomorrow, and that could bring us a little bit more cloud cover. Maybe tomorrow night a stray shower could make it to the ground, but most of the moisture won't make it to the ground because the surface air is just too dry. So even with that front coming in, we're not expecting much of a chance of rain. If we look at Futurecast, you can kind of see this play out in more detail. Again, overnight tonight, temperatures will vary depending on your elevation. We're going to be mainly clear, 30s, 40s for most overnight, and waking up early tomorrow morning. You'll need the jacket to start Wednesday, but you can certainly shed it by the afternoon. We're going to be in the 70s again tomorrow afternoon, again above average. Wednesday night, we drop back into the 40s, if not the upper 30s. Again, just some clouds around, maybe a sprinkle across some of the higher elevations, but generally the chance of rain stays nil. And we're going to completely dry out again on Thursday. But notice, we are not as warm on Thursday. Wednesday is our last really warm day before temperatures start to drop a bit into late week. Thursday, we're only going to be in the upper 50s and low 60s as far as high temperatures go. Now, if we look ahead at the winds, too, that's the other thing. We're not looking at much of a chance of rain through the end of the week, but it will continually get just like more and more breezy through the end of the week. And with the dry air and the dry leaf litter we have, fire danger will become a concern later this week, so you don't really want to be burning with this kind of weather. Let's look at the head at that 10-day really quickly, though. Again, we have a brief warm-up Friday, but then we're kind of cool after that, so enjoy the warmer weather while you've got it these next couple of days. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Catherine. Now we turn to our weekly investigative report here at 5. Juveniles accused and convicted of serious crimes are escaping detention facilities across the U.S. And the troubled teen industry faces a tough challenge, balancing rehabilitation with security. Our national investigative reporter Chris Nakamoto found part of the public safety problem is actually a lack of uniform security protocols across the country. Now there is a call for change.
She was complicated. Sometimes our relationship was really strained because of that. But I always knew that she loved me, no matter what. It was an odd phone call, and they said, we needed to let you know that something happened at your mom's house. There was an intruder.
Becky Everton's mom, Angela Heyman, heard a noise under the carport of her Baton Rouge home. When she went to check it out, she was met by a 15-year-old gun-toting juvenile, Xavier Cade. Investigators believe Cade got spooked and shot Heyman. She died at the scene. Her husband, who heard the commotion, grabbed a gun and fired back, shooting Cade in the abdomen. The juvenile shooter went to the hospital, and when he was released a week later, he was booked into this juvenile detention facility, but not for long. Our national investigative team uncovered court records typically kept secret involving Cade's juvenile criminal history. That file shows Cade spent 6 months in juvenile lockup following the killing until his parents posted bond in July 2020.
We were just appalled that they send this child home that had committed murder, and they just let him go home with no conditions on his release. He just went home.
The following month, Cade's mom texted his social worker saying he disappeared. He's outfitted with an ankle monitor, but that didn't stop his criminal behavior. Months after getting that monitor, he stole a car in December of 2020. 2 months passed and more trouble. He removed his ankle bracelet and disappeared again. In May, prosecutors petitioned to get his bond revoked after Cade gets caught trying to buy a gun. Prosecutors say the ankle monitor tracking him was dead. Law enforcement sent him back to juvenile detention. But Cade had no plans of staying locked up. In October, he and 4 other juveniles violently attacked 3 guards and escaped in one of the guards' vehicles.
Like, this is crazy. What is happening here? And why is it this person who murdered not adequately being held? There's a problem here.
Cade's mother eventually turned him back in. In January of 2022, he was moved to an adult jail and later pled guilty to manslaughter, getting 25 years for killing Angela Heyman. Everton's issues are not unique. It's happened in Virginia.
This was a very elaborate plan. It first started with choking out a prison guard.
Tennessee.
Some youth escaped from the juvenile detention center.
And Hawaii.
The escape happened about 10:45 Wednesday morning.
Our team uncovered there are gaps with how escapes are tracked, both pre and post-conviction. The Interstate Compact for Juveniles is a law that regulates juveniles between states. It logs escapes only if juveniles escape from jail and cross state lines. Since 2021, 89 juveniles have escaped secure facilities in America and were found in other states. But that's a low number because if they escape and don't cross state lines, that number is not tracked. Another entity, the Federal Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, told us it does not track escapes. So we filed a series of requests with all 50 states trying to get their escape data. More than half responded. Most escapes happen from state-run juvenile facilities. Of those from 2021 to 2023, the data shows Louisiana reported 61 total, followed by Michigan, Iowa, Oregon, and Nevada. For Everton, she felt re-traumatized each time Cade committed new crimes with no way to control him.
I can tell you that something has to change. It has to change.
Xavier Cade's defense lawyers claim he was mentally ill and in crisis when he went on his crime sprees. They claim his age prevented him from understanding right from wrong and are trying to have his conviction tossed out. Now don't go away. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson has one final look at the forecast after this short break.
Welcome back, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Thompson here. Again, a final look at the forecast tonight from the East River Mountain Overlook in Bluefield, where the fall foliage is just popping out here. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you look over me, you can just see this beautiful view we have on the top of the mountain here. And again, this is the peak time for what the color that we do have left, because we did lose a lot for the drought and with Helene's winds earlier a few weeks ago. But what we've got left is peaking now. So get out here and enjoy it. Now let's look at the forecast. Again, temperatures tonight eventually dipping into the 40s, some 30s for some. It is going to be a cool, seasonable night. Tomorrow we're back in the 70s, and we look nice through the end of the work week. I'm going to break down that full forecast again at 6. Stay tuned. Back to you.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for showing us that incredible view. Such a great sight to see out there. We will be back at 6 with more.